I'm still watching the games from round one, part one of the FIDE World Cup 2025, and I found this game by Woodward, Andy, that is good and interesting because the kid is just 15 years old. So I don't understand why I didn't hear anything about in the comment about this game, but the guy clearly deserves it because to be F15 and participate there, he must be really incredible and amazing. And by the way, it seems that in one of the encounters, direct encounters with Niemann, that is another younger player, but it's more than 20 years old, he won. So imagine how good is this guy. Okay, so Woodward Andy is white and Guzain Imal is black. He starts with d4, and let me turn the board, and d5, c4, d takes c4, so this is a queen's gambit accepted, and it can lead to very sharp variations, so that's kind of interesting. Now, can you imagine that Andy took 2 minutes and 13 seconds to play this move? In this case, I don't think that he didn't know the theory. In this case, he was probably trying to decide what would surprise his opponent. That's the fact here, no? Because today they are all very, very booked and generally try to find a move that their opponent doesn't like. His opponent answering 8 seconds with e5, and he immediately answer with knight f3. Again, they are moving very fast. Bishop b4, knight c3, e takes d4, knight takes d4, and for this knight d4 he took 1 minute and 27 seconds, while his opponent played knight d7 in 13 seconds. Again, he moved right away. Bishop takes e4, and knight g f6. This also was played in just 7 seconds. So as always, I try to tell you one thing, to pause the video in some critical moments. Why? Because I want you to put yourself in the position of a white player. I mean, you are a young 15 years old with all your chess life in front of you, while unfortunately some of us, the chess life is gone. And what would you play? I can tell you that the modern continuation is f3. So if you pause the video and you played f3, hey, that's good, because you remember the theory. But Andy, that has a bright future in front of him, and I mean 15 years old, it's amazing, right? It took 7 minutes and 52 seconds to play this. Boom! It's clearly the new Tal, right? This guy. That's why I'm showing you this game. I don't know if they show it to you in other commentary of this, but it's kind of interesting in my opinion, because that's an amazing move to play at this moment, at this stage of the game, right? Black took, so as you can see, Andy is really a kind of a sharp player because he gave up a bishop to keep the opponent king in the center or kind of discovered. And he played queen b3 check, right? At this point I think yeah, the position is equal, right? And here we know that black, Hussein Imal, wasn't ready for this continuation. His fury ended up there. Why? Because it took 24 minutes to answer this next question, cioè the next move, right? Ossia, where does your king go? That's the question. And kind of important, because if you go here, no, probably this is a good move, I think. And probably if you go here, still not a good square. So where do you go with this king, right? So it took 24 minutes to answer this question, where does your king go? And he played king e8. At this point, I think that already now, you know, that things have gone very wrong for black. And it takes 19 seconds to play this. So he didn't take this and immediately got the material back. Probably this was okay, but the problem is obviously if you take this, the next move is this, right? So what do you do? What do you do? So yeah, I think in fact castling is a good idea. And of course he immediately went back here. So here there is a novelty. Previously it was played this move, knight f5, but it brought only an advantage to black. And there was another move that was played, and but this was between not very strong player like 1900, and it was this rook e1 that was played, which makes sense, right? Instead, Andy, by the way, for this move, bishop d6, black took 19 minutes, so it was difficult also this move. So why do I tell you the timestamps? Because it tells you how difficult is a move when you are really playing online, not online, sorry, OTB, and you don't have a computer like commentators have when they tell you their ideas about the position. In any case, now Andy takes another 12 minutes to find the move that he thinks is the strongest. And he finds a novelty, which is knight e6. At this point, there is this queen e7 that black found in 2 minutes, and here white was ready for this move because he played this queen knight d5. Of course you cannot take this. Why? Because check. If you take, I take that. If you don't take, I take that. In any case, I take that. You cannot escape from me taking bet. So that's why you cannot take the knight on e6. Also, if it could be a good snack if you like horse knight. But black played, obviously, knight takes d5, right? Because that's okay. And this took him 4 minutes. Not bad. White was ready. He immediately played that. And once more, let's see what happens. There is now an attack to that queen and this at the same time. Okay? And here it has to play this. Knight takes c5, bishop takes c5, and black has the bishop pair, right? So not bad. But the problem is this, right? That while black has the bishop pair, his king is in the center and he cannot castle because he moved a king. So he needs kind of to find a way to escape, and it will take some moves. So clearly it's a beautiful game in the sense that white, a grandmaster against another player that could be at least international master, I think. Let's see. Unfortunately, they didn't write anything in the ID card. I don't know why. But the other player is rated 2476, so clearly is at least an international master. So how did the game continue? Obviously white needs to develop, and now is threatening to go there. And this is the reaction after 7 minutes and 51 seconds. This is not a good move, sorry to tell you. If you want, pause the video and try to find the best move for black. The best move for black is this one, believe it or not. And after, I don't know, this, oops, he goes here, so it's protected. And that's the best continuation that leaves black with a material edge. Okay. Instead, after rook f8 that was played in the game, white took his own time, the same time of black, because black for rook f8 took 7 minutes and 51 seconds, and white took 7 minutes and 49 seconds for what? For rook e1. Okay. It's clearly a beautiful game, a game that I don't know if they gave them their deserved attention, but I think it's interesting. Okay, rook takes f4. No, of course, guys, you should think of what happens if black plays bishop takes f2. Because it's a possibility, right? Because if you do this, things go bad, right? So you cannot do that. You have to do this. But then, once you do that, what happens? Check again, right? And after this, check again. And of course, at this point, you play this, and white has a good advantage. White should be winning. Unfortunately, things didn't go like that. Let's return back to the position. I think we were like this and this, if I remember well. And if I don't, I'm sure someone in the crowd that watch my videos will point it out. because luckily we find always someone. So rook takes f4 was played after 4 minutes and 18 seconds. Great. Obviously, Andy says, yummy, yummy, and takes immediately before something happens on the board that you never know. And here again, it's black turn to think. He thought to take with this instead of a king, and it's probably the right choice not to take with a king. Now, how does white continue here? Again, guys, you need to think, no? Because things are not so easy. For example, in this position, Andy fought nearly 10 minutes. 10 minutes. What is the right move? It seems, so if you guys don't know, try to pause the video and find it out. So the right move seems should be this one, but Andy played this. So let's see this one, what happens, okay? I'm a little curious because I think, you know, if this guy fought 10 minutes, there must be a reason. And how deep did he go to see it? Obviously, you don't play this, bishop takes d6, you go with c takes d6. And here there is this, queen g8, bishop f8, and rook c1. Okay. And this is kind of interesting, huh? Because I think this rook c1 is kind of interesting. It's trying to take something that is unprotected. I don't know. In the game, instead, Andy played, it was here, here, and this was here. Instead he played this, rook e1. Okay, so let's see what happens after rook e1. Black played, oops, rook f7, nice move, 37 seconds. And once more, the question is, what would you play if you were white? In this case, Andy took only 28 seconds. But maybe this move that he played is not the right move. Maybe it's still this, the move to play. And here, guys, I honestly don't know. I think you need to use an engine to know which one is the right move. I'm sure that Andy by now has used it in order to know the truth, or the possible truth. Again, Black needed to find the right move. And here is when things go wrong for Black, probably. No? Look how beautiful is this move. Attack this, and as you can see, White has an interesting game. Also, if probably is not better than Black, he has an interesting game. Now, if he was playing against an engine, okay, the engine probably would have killed him by now, but he's playing against a human. And Black should have played probably this. No? But he played this. that is not so strong. It took 4 minutes to play this move. Why this is not so strong? Because finally he can play this. Queen takes e7. And now there is this. King f8 to unpin this. But unfortunately there is queen e5. And now white really has a strong compensation, right? Of course, there is this move that we all saw immediately. Why? Because in this way you can finally get the king to safety. And he plays this after 4 minutes. And the king g7 immediately, because in any case, what are you going to do? But at this point, the problem is this, no? That these two are kind of blocked. And white has this, and finally can push it, right? Yeah, he did it. Here, black comes out with an idea, which is b6. What is the idea? That finally you play this and you protect that, right? Unfortunately, doesn't really work in this case, because there was the next move which you should think about. So what was the best move? Probably this one. This was the move to play. And instead he played this. So now you are white again. No? You should think 21 seconds and you should find the same amazing move that Andy found. He's an amazing young guy, 15 years old, and he plays this kind of chess a la Tal, with this sacrifice on there. It's amazing, really great. He played this, rook e7, boom. That's great chess, right? And now, after this, bishop takes e7, there is d takes e7, and bishop b7, that was the obvious thing, right? Now, you are white. What do you do? Be careful, guys, because you cannot play queen a8. Why you cannot play queen a8? Because if you play queen takes a8, he plays this. And now you have a huge problem, right? Because how do you stop that? Maybe like this, but it doesn't even work, because there would be this and checkmate at the next. So if you played that, you have lost the game, and that's you have damaged everything you have done up to now. So that's not the move, right? So what is the move that you should play in this? And Andy immediately saw it, because it took him 5 seconds. Okay, 5 seconds. He played queen d8. Thank you very much, right? Here black plays this, because obviously he doesn't want you to go there, but also white is not, he has won the game at this point, it's a fact, no? Why? Because he plays this, oops, and now all your threats at the back rank checkmate don't exist anymore. So at this point we enter really in the real realm of endgame, and you need to be good in the endgame, right? It takes, and get back his queen. And now let's see who is stronger. At this point, guys, I don't really care to comment very much. Of course, black shouldn't resign too early, he needs to fight, but as you can see, h3, he cannot give him a backrank checkmate, and now you have to fight, right? It's a real fight. So how did he continue? Here, bishop d7, g4. I think that was, up to now, was the interesting part of the game. Now it's just technique, what they call technique. What does, what does technique means? No, sorry, plays h6, queen b8, h5, queen takes a7. So why they call it technique? Because it's converting the advantage. You need to convert your advantage into a real win, right? That's all you have to do. And here it's practically done. He has to pass pawn, so of course there is another thing here. Obviously, next move is this, check and picking up that. So you need to be careful also, and you need to fight. And he fight like this, right? He still play this, king here, and boom, let's move it. Like Ninzovic said, the pass pawn needs to be pushed, right? And check. It goes here. Check. It goes here. Now guys, remember that if he picks up that, it's over, right? a4, g4. Oh, finally the bishop f3 is protected, and now again it's up to Andy to find a way to win, because this bishop is strong obviously on the diagonal, but we know that the king is a powerful piece in the endgame, right? And he goes here. Now he's trying to give him checkmate, but I don't think it's gonna work, right? Check, and the escape. And now it goes here. I'm not sure, but pawn can be really touch, if you allow me the expression. Why? Because the next move is this. And it starts obviously to become obvious that you cannot stop them. If you take this, obviously you lose it immediately to this. Okay. Again, I wasn't aware of this game, but it's really beautiful, and I wish all the best to this young kid that is just 15 and clearly plays very, very strong chess. I would like to show you another game, if I can. Yes, I can. Okay, the next game I would like to show you, it's a game between Jobava Badur, that obviously it's a famous player because he has this sharp attacking style, and of course there is a spoiler alert. I believe that Jobava has already been eliminated in one of the subsequent rounds. But he's really a player that we love to see, because he has this kind of vast array of chess opening, and he plays against Cardoso José Gabriel. So he starts with e4, and black plays c6, the Caro-Kann, d4, d5. I think this was considered the best by Bologan, that made a course in chess base, saying that it gives you an advantage. I don't know, obviously, if it is still true, because that course was many years ago, and every time a new engine comes out, some things change. Not because the humans are really able to find different new ideas. And that's the funny thing, honestly, because they continue to speak about seconds, but oh, we don't mention the second because we want to keep the preparation secret, but the real second is stockfish, right? So I don't know. And here he plays G4, okay? Notice that for E5 it took 1 minute, so he was also evaluating which direction to send the game, and G4 was just 43 seconds. Black at this point takes 1 minute and 40 seconds to play this, so they are probably both thinking about the preparation of the opponent. F3 and bishop G6. At this point, guys, I already asked you to pause the video and think what would you play if you were Jobava. Because again, Jobava is a very sharp player and tries obviously to immediately create problems to his opponent. So Jobava took 2 minutes and 8 seconds and played this, E6. Black also took 1 minute, which means he probably or doesn't remember the theory, or I don't know what he's thinking, and he played this move, f takes e6. Probably at this point the situation is kind of equal, also if he was able to damage a little the pawn structure. Here Jobava plays this move in 29 seconds, and here Black doesn't know what to play. Why do I say that? Because it takes him 4 minutes to play this, h5. And maybe this move wasn't very common, because also Jobava takes 5 minutes to play this, bishop d3. Now the position is equal here. It's not that we are seeing crazy stuff. So the Caro-Kann is a solid opening. Bishop takes d3, queen takes d3. And now there is a nice move by Black, that is queen d6. Nice move, huh? Obviously, there should be someone with an engine or something that tell us what happens after this and why it's so good, this move. Probably because of this. That's why. So yes, you move my king, but I'm gonna move yours probably. Or something else. Yeah. Tack. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, a beautiful move, queen d6. And here, in fact, Jobava takes 14 minutes for the next move. So he is clearly evaluating this very deeply, right? As you can see, by the way, guys, we are at move 10. For white is move 10. And this is why I'm so excited to see these games and see the timestamps. Why? Because the timestamps is telling me that this is not opening prep, right? Otherwise, if it was opening prep, he would do immediately this if this is a good move or something else, right? And so why am I telling you this? Because Jobava is practically 2600. Okay, so one of the top 100 players, more or less, maybe 150 players in the world. And we see that both of them, also Cardoso, that is a 2500 player, they are still thinking. So if they are thinking, aren't we the same situation that would happen in a weekend tournament between 1800 rated players? That's what I'm asking you guys, because if by move 10 they need to think 15 minutes for a move, for me it's the same like a weekend tournament. Instead, I would have been obviously thinking that they are Grandmaster level if these 10 moves were played with maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds per move, because you have to write down your moves, right? But this didn't happen because we already saw that this move was 4 minutes. And also other moves like bishop d3 was another 5 minutes. So clearly they are out of their opening prep. And why do I say that? Because nobody wastes time in the opening, because the time that you would waste doesn't come back. You want to use it in your middle game. Okay, so what did Jobava play after 14 minutes? He played knight e2, so he considered that he needed to stop that. Okay. Of course, here Black would wish to play this, but he can't at the moment, and so he just needs to suffice himself with this knight d7. But it didn't take so much. It didn't take so much. It took 41 seconds. And now again, I tell you, we are out of the opening preparation for Jobava at least. So we are at move 11, and like, I don't know, 1500 rated player, he needs to think. Can you imagine how long he fought for the next move? You will never imagine. You will never imagine. He took 41 minutes for the next move. 41 minutes. I don't know. I don't know if he went to the restroom because he had a bad bout of something that he ate the night before. But if he was at the chessboard for 41 minutes, I guess it was a difficult move to find. So what do you think he played? He played Queen g6. Black continue obviously with the only move possible, 19 seconds, as you can see. It's not that he can do something else, jump, or do this, no? So 19 seconds, okay, just to be sure that he couldn't play this, probably. I don't know. And so he played King d8. But this time Jobava was ready, because in 21 seconds he played bishop g5. And of course now it's Black turn to think a little. He thinks for 11 minutes and play knight gf6. Great move, right? Because at a certain point you need to develop these pieces, right? And here white takes 15 minutes for the next move. So you can think a little and see if you are able to play the same move that Jobava played. By the way, guys, I'm showing you the game from the white side, from Jobava's side, because Jobava won. So we want to learn from him, right? He played knight d2. And now Black plays a nice move that took him 16 minutes. So it must be also a difficult move to find. Not difficult. When I say difficult to find, I mean that there are consequences to this move. And so when there are consequences, you need to think. The move is this, e5. Funny thing is that I'm sure the same players, if they had blitz, they would have blitzed maybe these moves in 2 minutes, but because of classical, a move like e5 takes 16 minutes. So I don't know. Now guys, what do you think Jobava played? This was a simple move, just 2 minutes. He played castle. And here it seems there is the fourth mistake by black. That however takes 12 minutes and 56 seconds for this move. So it's not a move that he didn't think about. And that's why, guys, I'm kind of surprised that people continue to watch these games. Why? Because at a certain point, when I bought a new computer, that was i9, a very, very powerful engine, very, very powerful CPU, I realized that if I made the engines play bullet 2 minutes with 1 second increment, they were going like 40 moves deep. It was amazing to see those engines fighting. Now these guys for sure didn't go 40 moves deep, and he plays knight e4, which is a mistake after 12 minutes and 56 seconds. And maybe he didn't even know that was a mistake, okay? He didn't even know that was a mistake. So up to you guys to find why it was a mistake. Because there is the following move, queen f7. And here black should have played knight takes g5. Instead, he played a novelty. Why do I say that? Because this game was played previously with another move, knight f2, and this was a blitz played in Budapest in 2025 between an international master and a grandmaster. So, okay, in blitz we know that happened. As you can see, the two players, and Jobava is one of the top in the world, or he was, are not aware of this game. They had to find it over the board. Black played knight takes d2, which is the novelty, and it took 9 minutes and 26 seconds to play it. Again, I repeat, it was better to play that, probably. Yeah? Okay, so what does white do? White takes back, right? But with what? With this? No, it took with this. So it was a sharp opening in which we see that white gave up a pawn. As you can see, you always need to give up something in order to create an imbalance that then you will use in your own way to win the game. Okay, because if you don't create imbalances, most games can end up in draws. So once more, white did the right thing and black made a mistake. Here it took only 29 seconds, and maybe here was the moment he should have fought. No? Probably the best one is h takes g4. Instead he played e takes d4. But Jobava is a great guy, and obviously he doesn't play the best move and let black survive. The best move is g takes h5, and then there is probably knight after knight e5 from black. There is queen f5, okay? Instead, he plays f4 because it doesn't want black to go probably on e5. And for f4, it took 6 minutes and 46 seconds. Here black takes 20 minutes to play this move. Because now that there is a 4 and he cannot do this, he feels, I can finally go out with this king. But maybe not the right move. Again, this position are probably difficult to play for a human, while for an engine, everything is so easy. No, it's terrible how these engines can actually decide things in matter of seconds and we can't. It's really terrible. So here there is knight takes d4, and probably at this point white has a good advantage. Okay, remember black now cannot play this. Oops, because this would be very funny. So what does black play? Probably black should have played h takes g4. That was the move. Instead, strangely, took 11 seconds and played this move. Rook c8. So guys, what do you think should white do here? Well, generally, what grandmaster do is to find a weakness in the opponent field, camp, and attack it. Here, the weakness, I don't want to tell you right away, I don't want to spoil it, eventually pause the video. The weakness is this pawn e7 that is going to be attacked, okay? So not this g takes h5, not to play at the moment, also if before was probably the right move. Why? Because again, now you want to attack here because of this situation, okay? And he does it with this move, knight f5. Here, black plays queen c5, they are taking about 3 minutes per move, and of course now white attacks it once more with rook e1. Okay. The best move here probably is this, queen c4, but instead Cardoso make a mistake, and it took 6 minutes and 43 seconds to make this mistake. He played knight f6. Okay. He could play now this knight takes g7, but Jobava plays bishop takes f6, g takes f6, and guess what is the next one? Just 4 seconds is g5. So he wants to create a pass pawn that maybe becomes unstoppable. Okay. After f takes g5, there is f takes g5, and yes, now white has created the pass pawn that becomes kind of unstoppable or a big problem, right? At the same time, black wants to castle, and it does so manually. Pum. And white says, hey, Nintsovich told me when there is a pass pawn I need to push it. What do? I push it with g6, right? Finally, black plays queen c4. White doesn't play something like this, he plays this in order to be sure to give black a chance to think maybe I can give him a back rank mate. That is not gonna happen. So what does black do? Black says, haha, I caught you. And if here, guys, you must be very, very careful on what you do, okay? Because sometimes to be greedy can be a mess, okay? So you are white, think about it, because it's, as you can see, that's why the tactical training doesn't really work, because it's thinking at the board and solving problems, and the little differences in position that can teach you how to play chess, instead of mindless solving tactics online. Here, for example, what is white best move? Jobava got it in 22 seconds. Okay, he played rook d1. But let's say that you think this is the right move. Okay, and obviously it isn't, right? Because it can happen. We have seen mistakes of this kind. Oops. And now you have a huge problem, and you play this, right? But then there is this, and your game is over. Your game is over. So imagine that. Sometimes these things happens in a real game, right? Because you think, I play this, he will take or something. No, it didn't happen. Of course, maybe there could be something like, let's say that after this, you play, I don't know, something like this. But that would be silly, right? So, I don't know. I don't think this is the move. No, obviously not. Okay, sorry, just thinking, because some mistakes exist in chess, and I wanted to see if there was another mistake to point out. No, I don't see it. Okay, sorry. So Jubava plays immediately rook d1, because he says, hey, I have won the game, I don't want any kind of trouble, and black plays e6. And of course now there is rook takes e6. So bishop c5, yeah, and g7. Oops. Okay, I think at this point, well, maybe it's nearly finished. Queen g4. As you can see, black is trying to lure white into a mistake, because if you take, you get checkmated, and some things can happen. Maybe they were short on time already, but obviously Jobava, that is a good blitz player, immediately spot it and avoid that, right? And Cardoso plays this, and now what should have white played? Because I think here there was a possibility to play something stronger than what was played in the game. Jobava played this to avoid the back rank mate and take away the opponent chances. But this would have been probably the best move that immediately wins the game. So, yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. Rook e8. Could play this, maybe. Or not. Nah. Well, I don't know, guys. Try to see, because obviously he played f3, bishop d4, rook e7, okay, queen f4, rook takes b7, king a8, and here knight takes d4, and it's game over. So I thank you for watching this game. I think it was interesting, and if you have a moment more of your time, I would like to show you another game played by Ganguly that is an interesting Indian grandmaster that has written and done a lot of work on calculation. So I think his games are interesting to watch. Just a second and we go to the next. Okay guys, I didn't know the encounter, the game it was between two Indian grandmaster. I just wanted to show you because I know that Ganguly has made many courses also for chess base, and so I was curious to see how he plays. Unfortunately, I didn't see many games by Ganguly. In this case, Ganguly is white and is rated 2573, and black is Ahmad 2523. Okay. Ganguly opens with e4, and finally we see an open game, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop b5, the famous Ruy Lopez or Spanish. a6, bishop a4, knight f6, castle, and here there is bishop e7. Now there is a very interesting move played by Ganguly. And here, by the way, we can see that both the opponents are just playing the opening. Why? Because they take few seconds for each move. Like bishop e7 took 13 seconds. Probably, move it, check, tack, and write it down. So you see, sometimes that's the reason that you have to write down. Here he plays bishop takes c6. So this is like the exchange variation, right? D takes c6, and now there is rook e1. Okay. For rook e1 took 5 seconds, so he knows what he's doing, right? Now, black plays a move that takes him nearly 4 minutes. And that's kind of interesting, 4 minutes, right? Because it must not be very used often. Knight d7. So he closes the diagonal to this bishop. And here also white start to think little, 45 seconds, and plays c3 because he wants probably to take control of the center. And I think at this point black is out of opening theory. Why do I say that? Because for the next move, black is out of opening theory, because for the next move it takes about 8 minutes, and he plays this. So if he knew the opening theory, he wouldn't take 8 minutes at this stage, right? This is move 8. d4, c takes d4, c takes d4. Now, why I'm continuously pointing out the timestamps? Because if you notice, guys, when some of these grandmasters play online in Blitz, they only take seconds. No? Also when they strangely are out of theory. Here in classical OTB, by move 8, they don't know what they have to do. And to be a grandmaster is not a joke, come on. It's a profession, it's a very hard profession, and it means that you do that generally all day long, right? So that's why it's a little strange that black at move 8 is out of theory in an opening that he should know. E takes d4 and the queen takes d4. Very good. And now Also, black doesn't take much time to castle, just a minute. It makes sense because it was attack. What do you do otherwise? Once more, white plays 5 seconds this move, and once more, black doesn't know what to do. Why? Because it takes 12 minutes to play the next move. And of course, the next move, it can be controversial because what is precisely trying to do, right? Notice that this same game was played in Tashkent in 2021 up to here, so it's not a new thing, and we know it thanks to Chessbase. Chessbase has this amazing database that tells you everything, right? So black played bishop f6, 12 minutes, and white didn't play e5. He played a novelty. Before, wait, by the way, to play the novelty, it took him 16 seconds. 16 seconds. So I can think that Ganguly was really booked up. Right? Kind of booked up. Because he's answering very, very fast. So he knows what he's doing. Previously, this was the move played. Okay, Queen e3, played between two grandmasters, and Ganguly finds this new move, Queen d5. He finds it in 16 seconds, so I think he was prepared on the opening, right? So that's my belief. Maybe I'm wrong, and if one day Ganguly watch this game or my comment, which is impossible because I'm nobody, he will tell me, yes, I studied the theory and I knew it perfectly well. And that's what Stockfish version 2100, I don't know which version we are on Stockfish now, gave me as a best move. Okay. Now black again takes nearly 8 minutes and play c6. Okay. Once more, I think Ganguly knows what he's doing because 6 seconds he plays this. And once more, black plays g6 after 4 minutes. But Ganguly takes only 5 seconds to play this. Another 4 minutes and this is played. I don't know, or maybe Ganguly is just thinking in the opponent time. Yeah, it's also a possibility, I mean, at this point, because if you give me every time 4 minutes with moves that are obvious, for sure Ganguly is thinking in the opponent time. Why? 7 seconds. So, knight takes f3 and the queen takes f3. Okay. And now bishop g7 to avoid bishop h6, right? And now, guys, we know that Ganguly is out of theory, or is the position start to become something he should think about. And so we see that he was well prepared. Why? Because we are at move 18. At move 18, Ganguly start to think for a long time. What do I mean for a long time? 6 minutes and 50 seconds, and he finds this, bishop f4. So this is what we consider the end of the opening. Why? Because, like I mentioned in other videos, there should be 3 tasks in the opening. One is obviously develop your pieces, to castle, 3 connect the rooks. This move 18, the rooks are connected. Rook e8, another 5 minutes. And now once more Ganguly starts to think, 6 minutes and 14 seconds, and he plays rook ad1. after 5 minutes we get this, queen b6, attacking b2, right? And so Ganguly, again, 5 minutes, answer this, rook d2. And bishop e6 was played practically after 7 minutes. And here again, Ganguly takes his time, nearly 10 minutes. Probably the best one was queen g3, but he played bishop d6. And after bishop h6, I think we can consider the position equal. Why? Because black has this nice pair of bishops that obviously control a lot of opponent territory. Notice also that apart this, white is not really doing any damage at this point. So how do you actually win from this position? That's an interesting question, right? Why do I say this? Because we are a move 21 and practically 17 moves later, 15 moves later, the game is over. So rook c2, rook a d8, so rook c2 12 minutes, and rook a d8 nearly 7 minutes. Queen g3, a very fast move, 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and queen d4, just 2 minutes. Rook d1, this is 14 minutes, and queen f6, less than a minute. h4, very good because it takes away the possibility of back rank. And rook d7 takes nearly 10 minutes. Here there is a nice move by Ganguly that is played in just 2 minutes. The move is rook e2. Rook e d8, so black is trying to fight for the d5. Rook e1, and now there is the fourth mistake played by black. It's not clear what he should have played. But it seems this is a mistake. Why? Because now Ganguly thinks 12 minutes, so I wish you guys to pause the video and try to find out what Ganguly played. After 12 minutes, Ganguly played e5, and this is a great move. Queen e6, and f3, boom. Bishop f5, and now there is another great move by Ganguly, so you guys can stop or pause the video for a couple of minutes, because it took him only 2 minutes and 33 seconds. He played queen f2, so it's probably trapping this, right? Bishop g7, and of course g4. Of course, now there is the reaction. Bishop takes g4, f takes g4, queen takes g4, king h2, rook e8, boom. Okay. Once more, Ganguly takes his time, about 4 minutes for the next move. So you can pause and think. The next move is queen g3. obviously black doesn't exchange the queens. Once you are down in material, you try to keep it. So probably this, he wants to use that, so he plays b3. Rook d8, and now there is knight e4. So as we can see now, the problem of the weak dark squares is probably the problem here. So what should black do at this point? Because this is a problem. He played bishop takes e5, and here the game is over, it seems. After queen takes e5 and rook takes d6. No. See, I don't see anything particular. I don't know why he even played it. Maybe he thought he made a mistake. Boom, strange. It's kind of strange. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this last game. I will stop the video here, and let me see if I think I have commented on most of the games I wanted really to show, because these are players that I know or that are interesting, like for example Woodward, and it was really a beautiful game. So thank you for watching, and see you for the next rounds.